What was it you were going to do if you weren't doing this?
That's an interesting story. So I have
Let me hear it.
I have two degrees, one in marketing, one in economics. I thought going into banking would be a great idea and found out pretty quickly like this is not a very good fit. And so I skied competitively in college, not on a team, but just with a bunch of buddies and was skiing all the time. I went to school in Western North Carolina. And I decided I was just going to go out and teach skiing for a couple seasons out in Colorado, and actually met somebody that worked for Toyota at Copper Mountain, and struck up a conversation with the
But he was
guy.
going
And
up. He was going up the lift, and you were coming down the
no,
lift,
no, no.
or
They had we had a marketing activation there, and he was checking on it, which I didn't realize at the time what that meant. It means go there and go skiing for a couple days. But he asked, what I was doing, and I explained to him that I had started to work in retail banking, and that wasn't for me, and I was just going to teach skiing for a couple seasons and kind of figure it out. This was in 1992. The market for jobs wasn't great. And he said, "Well, are you interested in the car business?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love cars. I grew up in North Carolina. I love racing." He goes, "Well, I'll get you an interview. I'm not getting you a job. Just send me a cover letter." So, to his credit, he did do that and went through a bunch of interviews. Actually, more interviews than most normal hires go through, because I came through a sort of non-traditional path. So, you know, basically every interview that I went through, and there was probably 8 or 10 of them, like every single time I told people, look, you're probably going to see better resumes, people with better pedigrees from an education standpoint, but I will absolutely outwork everybody. And I won't let you down or embarrass you. Just give me an opportunity. That's all I've ever asked for. And you know what? He did. And the rest has sort of been, the history of taking opportunities and working hard and somewhat feeling like I'm lucky to be here, quite frankly. And so I think that's also driven some of my being willing to take risks and chances throughout my career and doing different things throughout my career.
that was field operations? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it was, well, it started out as, we go out as trainees, right? And I'm sitting around a building in California. And I mean, there's people from Dartmouth and Michigan State. And I'm like, hey, my name's Andrew Gilleland. I'm from Appalachian State. And the needle just went off the record. Everybody turns around. And that was my first imposter syndrome moment within the company. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm going to have to probably work twice as hard to keep up with these folks. And, I always had a strong work ethic from my dad. He was pretty hard on me as a youngster. So, it was already built for that and built to take chances and risks and push. I didn't grow up, without, but I didn't grow up with money. And so, I wanted to make sure I could take care of my family. Those were my two main goals, right? Do something I love and take care of my family. If I could do that, I'd be really happy.
Where did you think that how far did you think you could go? Where could you end up
To be
within this
honest,
organization?
it's funny you mentioned this. I was just talking to a young person the other day that's a newly hired trainee, and
Yeah.
I told them, I said, when I first got to the regional offices, this was back in the day, like the general manager, like, hey, go get my car washed. I'm like, not a problem. And I remember calling my dad and saying, hey, I think I might be the highest paid car washing guy in the United States. But I was happy to do that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it was that or do spreadsheets. I'm more than happy to go get your car washed. But it never bothered me. None of that stuff ever bothered me. I was like, hey, if that's what you want me to do, great. So I tell people a lot, like, you need to have goals, but you got to be careful. I think being great every day is way more important than having these lofty goals, because many of those things are out of control, your control.
Yeah.
The only thing you can control is your effort and your attitude. And, I know that's something that people say a lot, but it's true. So I tried to keep my expectations, frankly, pretty low, because I just couldn't believe I was working for this great company.